Morning, Andre. You'll indicate when we're ready to start.
Good morning, Chair. Yeah, I will do so, Chair. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Chair, we're still waiting for members to join. I'll alert you when members are on the platform, Chair. Hi, good morning, Chair. We can proceed. Shall I do a roll call, Chair?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mdluli,
I'm present, Chair.
Mr. Chance,
I'm present.
Dr. Kigaba,
I'm present.
Mr. Mkutu, Mr. Mkutu is on the. Thank you. Ms. Motsikatsi,
I'm present, Chair.
Chair, Mr. Gama is joining us as well. Chair, we're correct. We may proceed with the meeting, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Can we share the agenda? Thank you very much, colleagues. You are all welcome to the official meeting, and apologies for the delay. I think members were struggling to join. Are there any apologies, Andrew?
Apologies, Chair, I was muted, Chair. I didn't receive any apologies, Chair. I will just double check also throughout the meeting, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, then can we get a move and seconder for the agenda?
I move, Chair.
Thank you very much. Dr. Kikaba moves, and then seconders.
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Mdluli, seconds.
Okay, before my apologies, just apologies from apologies from the Minister, Deputy Minister, and the Director General, Chair. The Minister and the DG is still traveling back to South Africa, and the Deputy Minister is at the communications meeting this morning. They submitted their apologies, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. I think we can proceed. Do we have a senior person from the DTIC to introduce the reports?
Chair, Ms. Matumela is on the platform, and she will do the introductory remark, Chair.
Thank you. Over to you. I will not come back. So are we going to take both presentations, or we'll discuss in between as per the agenda?
That will be the call for the meeting, Chair. But last time we did separately, and the previous time we did it together. So it's the committee's call how they want to proceed, Chair.
Okay. Okay, if we can just indicate how much time each entity needs, and then so that we can manage. And we've said to the colleagues we've met before, so we don't want you to explain the whole mandate. It's fine, we can touch and pass by there, but the important thing is on the actual report. I will now hand over to Ms. Matumel, and then from there the entities can come through.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to the Honorable Chairperson and the Honorable members. As always, Chairperson, we appreciate these interactions with the committee. Today,
Recording in progress.
Chairperson, we are having the National Metrology Institute, and we call them NMISA. We also have the NRCS. From the NMISA side, Chair, we have the acting CEO, Dr. Jesse Pillay, and he will be leading the delegation from NMISA, and he will introduce the team, and he will also take the committee through the presentation, Chair. Thank you.
They can proceed.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Allow me to share screen. Presenter mode. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start here. So We have last presented on the 20th of May, and we presented the Q4 report, and the committee would know. Oh, sorry. Thank you again, and good morning to the honourable members. So I'll start from there. So we did present on the 20th of May, and we presented the Q4 report, and we did do a summary at the end because a lot of those targets were cumulative targets. So we have updated that, and what we've also included now is a snippet of Q1 to just show that transition from the end of that quarter going into the new year. So I'll take it through that. I'll take the report as being read, and there's just an overview of the presentation in terms of where we're going to be going or what we're going to be going through. So to start with, we received a clean audit, which we're very proud of. So the year before, it was unqualified with some small, what do you call it? Those minor findings, I think it is. But nevertheless, we have now moved to a clean audit. This is just an overview of the programs in terms of the support for the economic development. You will note the programs on the right side of the screen. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but what I will touch on is just a few of the initiatives within the programs, such as the critical minerals collaboration, digital innovation. We have the green industrialization as well in terms of things that we are doing. The critical minerals one, we did sign an initial letter of intent with Mintech, but we have now moved towards designing our own roadmap, which we will get to, and running that through a quality infrastructure system. The digital innovation, we migrated to digital certificates, but we want to take that one step further. And in terms of that digital certifications, we want to create a tracking system. So we spoke last time about the multiplier effect, but now we want to monitor that multiplier effect to get a quantitative analysis of how far our reach is. And we believe by doing a stamping on our certifications and having those progress into the economy, that will allow us to then track in terms of how far our reach is. So we can actually get those numbers from a quantitative point of view to actually show when we speak about that multiplier effect, how we're contributing to the economy. So I think, yeah, that would be a really good means of measuring our reach. In terms of our industrial support, so these are some of the elements in terms of what we've looked at during the year 14, some highlights there, providing support to 13 African countries, hosting international visitors, providing SMME supports, also in terms of interlaboratory comparisons and proficiency testing schemes, 14 of those that we run under AfriMets, and yeah, so that's our contribution in terms of regional support, just an overview of that. So you've seen this slide before. I'm not going to go into the details. It just highlights in terms of the economy where we actually have our fingers, in terms of our reach as well. And this is what I was referring to when I said with the digital certification, having that tracking system that will then allow us in these different sectors to actually get an indication of how far we are reaching there. I did mention this in terms of the multiplier effect, and this is just tying that into where some of the things I've just spoken about now. We are now, I think, at the lowest point in terms of our budget cuts, but we seem to we're getting an upward trajectory now, so that's positive. This is also going to work hand in hand, like I say, with then when we are showing now our scope of the work we do and how we're expanding in terms of the work and how we contribute to the economy in that regard. You've seen all of these. I'm not going to go through those in details, but I'm going to then get to the performance against targets. So the overall performance there was 71, 6 not being achieved. These are the 6. Sorry, These are the 6. I just want to close the screen. Oh, what did I do now? Okay. Sorry, can you still see? I'm assuming we can. Okay. So in terms of diversification of revenue streams, we came close to that, achieving that. And I'll explain to that. I'll talk to that in the revenue one in more detail in a bit. But these are just the ones on the right-hand side that we did not achieve. 96% came very close there in terms of our non-conformances being resolved. We explained in detail about the staff turnover. And like I said, when I put that measurable the last time, I even said it was by how much did we miss it. So we worked that out in terms of a percentage. Also with the in-service trainees, we worked that out in terms of a percentage, but we actually only missed hosting one trainee. You'll be pleased to know that we've achieved that target for the year already by Q2. So the targets that Felix, what have I done here now? Messed this up now. I'm so sorry. Okay, so with the revenue that I was referring to, the revenue that we had made for the year was close to 27 million, and you'd see if you look at a trend line year on year, except for that 2020-21 period, we've been hitting these numbers, in terms of our output, and it is again, us as the Metrology Institute, and that's why the multiplier effect becomes very important, is because we enable those calibrated labs to have these services, providing them with traceability so that then they can go on and provide this into the market. And that is why it becomes important for us to be able to track our digital or certifications. So we know when those get passed on or a service gets passed on to the third party, fourth party, wherever the case is, we can always have a count of that going forward. And so while we show a contribution here of 27 million, you will find that it's actually a lot more in terms of the GDP, or the contribution to the GDP, should I say. Some of the targets that we did meet, and this is just an overview here, the metrological services that we've offered in terms of the CMCs, our achievement 91%. I'm just going to touch on some of the main ones. Our service collaborations, 80%. Clients in geographical areas, that one we've got up to 30%. And yeah, our new clients as well, 23%. So that goes hand in hand also with, we've been going on a year on year, we've been boosting our reach. And when I say our reach, how well we're known. And you see this when we monitor even our LinkedIn account. I think 3 years ago or so, we had maybe 2,000 or so followers, and this has now increased by 3 times that amount. So it's growing, and we're starting to see a more rapid rate in that growth as well. So that's also good for us in terms of becoming known and identified in terms of the services that we offer to the economy, to the public, to the markets. These are some of the additional KPIs that we achieved, and you'll see our satisfaction rating there of 88% in our training center, 89%. So that has been another big boost in terms of especially revenue generation, because we're offering those services for training in terms of the other NMIs within Africa. And but we don't want to become a training center. We want to do our core business at the same time. And that's just a first part or first phase in terms of that, because now when the other NMIs also can reach those, or the capabilities are uplifted, then it helps us, especially when it comes to trade, especially when contributing to the AFCFTA. So we're active on that front in terms of AfriMets as well. And we're now taking over the AfriMets Secretariat, or transferred those duties to another senior manager in our organization to continue running that. So there's a lot of action there on the regional front, or activity on the regional front. You've seen this one, and I know we were all disappointed with that turnover rate. There's also there was that moratorium in terms of bringing in staff. So when staff left, we also couldn't easily fill those positions at the time. And we did explain when we said so at the time, that we get so many 1,000 interviews, CVs at a time. And we did say to you in Q4 that we're going to move towards trying to digitize this and make the recruitment selection process a lot easier. We've successfully done that, especially for the positions like interns or so those ones we do use a digital recruitment services. Our HR and IT developed something there, so that at least helps us now to move through those CVs at a much quicker rate. You will be pleased to know, though, in Q1, there we go. Our staff turnover rate decreased to 2%, and our target was 7%. And in Q2, it was 4%, and our target was 8%. So we have managed to stabilize and stop that, or get a grip in terms of that staff turnover rate. For Q1 itself, these are some of the targets that we achieved. Staff retention, as indicated, 2%. We've successfully managed to bring in 4 trainees, interns. In Q2, that moved up to 6 or 7, and so we've hit our target already for the year. Client satisfaction, 80%, and maintaining visibility in terms of our AVE, we've also reached that target. We've indicated to you this one in Q4, and we showed you, there was that concern about this, especially the filling of positions, and I know the members were they put forward questions as well about the vacancy rate, and it also troubled us. We explained some of the gaps and how it's impacting us. We've moved on that front as well. We've made quite a few recruitments, and this was around June, July. This is continued into August as well. So we're filling those critical positions, and like I say, we've steadied the tide now to continue that build. You'll be pleased to know also in Q2 we reached 100% of our targets. So the build is ongoing. We spoke about this in certain elements within the organization, and albeit that this is very operational, but I'll speak about it from a high level because how it impacts the organization as itself. So we did speak about staff turnover, some of our systems within the organization, labor fatigue, and communication. So we have now put together also our succession and continuity plan. We did speak to that about in Q4. We've now got that approved. We have been running with it. So we see that to be quite successful, especially with growing and training young staff to come into the organization. The one that we're still working on is our organogram. The board is currently looking at the revision of that. So that is another piece in the puzzle in terms of the stability model that we are looking at. So this is the current organizational structure. We have some other positions, some of which have already been filled, but this is the one we're looking at streamlining in terms of the structure. From the DTIC outputs perspective, we achieved 9 and we didn't achieve 7. And we spoke specifically to the reasonings behind why we didn't achieve some of those targets. And we explained as well, and you'll see the orange bars or peach bars. that a lot of them, when we planned them, were funding dependent. Maybe we should have looked at it from a more smart element in terms of how we were putting that forward. There was a lot of talk. I know, the institutes and the DTIC worked tirelessly towards at the beginning of the year to actually get these smart indicators, and some of which they have put forward would be along the lines of these that we've put together. And these are now in terms of where we stand at the end of Q1. We have achieved a few of those. Some of them we still need to move the needle on, so we're working on that. But we believe that we can achieve these by the end of this year. So you can see the comparison between last year's targets and this year's targets, and how that move has migrated. These are management accounts. Yeah, I think you can just have an overview here. We speak about some of the the assets, the liabilities. We talk about expenses. We've put those down. We've also looked at how we can manage our ratio with regards to our employee costs, and a lot of that does though contribute to the vacancies that we have had. But at the same time, we have also now recognized and appreciated that you can't give up too much on the OPEX side, because if you do that, in terms of pushing out the productivity, so it's got to be a fine balance there. So they will be, we will be investing on that front, but also some of the investments towards our capex as well. Whereas in this year we did not have any of that down there. From an audit perspective, you will see that the health is looking more on the green side. So there have been some, there's a few, this is when I referred to also the one that we had non-conformances. And you will see now this tables that I've put there, that was at the end of Q1. We've moved these to more on the single digit sides in terms of the findings and having those resolved. So, yeah. Okay, so you would note that you would remember that we had a plan in terms of the risk management as well, and how we wanted to go about doing certain things. So what we had highlighted as an overview and where we want to go. So we thought just to close the loop on that, if it shows. This was supposed to, colleagues, I apologize. So we've moved from so this was what it was initially, and we have then since I think the animation has messed me up. Yeah, I apologize, but I'll just talk to it on the final table. So a lot of it that we did have, we've put in red here what we've done and how we've been able to address some of these risks. You will see some in terms of proposals submitted or planned for a policy workshop, and where we are going to actually address these. And a lot of these now have so we've addressed. What you don't see, unfortunately, because of that animation, is that we've addressed a few of them, and now we've got new ones. So if you see now in the Q3, we've now moved towards some new risks that we've identified that we want to actually address. But yeah, so that's the overview in terms of our annual report, how we've performed over the last year, and how we've then moved into Q1 and just carrying forward some of the things that we said at the end of Q4 that we want to address, that we identified as being concerns, how we actually tackled that in Q1. So I hope that gave a good overview from that perspective. I will end it there. Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, thank you very much. I think members are still concentrating, so we can proceed with the next presentation as we continue making notes, please. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, good morning, and good morning to the honorable members. This is Duncan from the NRCS. I was hoping that I will also be introduced, but in any event, can I be assisted in terms of sharing? I'm not sure if I've been given the rights to do so.
You do have the sharing rights.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm not sure if it's showing there.
do you want to introduce the acting CEO, please? Because I see now we're delayed. Ms. Matumela.
Chair, I think I can then just proceed considering that the Ms. Matumela is on mute. Once
Yes.
more, good morning.
Please
Yeah,
proceed.
yeah, once more, good morning, Chair, and I hope the presentation it's showing on your side. If we can just get that confirmation. All right, from the NRCS side, I'll be leading the delegation comprising of our COO, Mr. Thomas Madzive, our CFO, Ms. Nadine Thomas, as well as our Senior Manager, Strategy and Risk, Mr. Edward Matemba. The focus of our presentation, of course, will cover our mandate, which we'll just talk to in terms of the highlights and regulated industry, performance information, stakeholder engagements, as well as the financial performance of the organization. Just to put things into perspective, in coming into this meeting, we've realized that there was an error that we've made in terms of the numbers in as far as our human resources are concerned. So we just wanted to bring to the attention of the committee that the numbers in terms of our positions in the organizations, we have 363 positions with the current staff complement of 322, 300 of which are permanent inclusive of 3 temps, which makes us having a vacant positions of 66 positions. Just as a highlight, going into the performance of the previous financial year, we were able to achieve 63% of our performance. We have also obtained the clean audit in terms of the AG audit, and we have also realized a surplus of 13 million. We have been reporting in this committee in the previous or the year 2023-2024, a deficit of around 110 million. I think we have turned things around this time around to a surplus of 13 million. Our strategic goals are informed in terms of our founding act, which deals with the development of compulsory specifications and technical regulations, as well as ensuring that we conduct market surveillance to ensure maximization of compliance, educating our stakeholders about the NRCS, as well as ensuring that we have an optimally capacitated institution. This is to assist us in terms of achieving our vision, which is a sustainable South Africa, where people and business can trade and purchase with confidence. Our founding legislations, there's no need to re-emphasize on this. This is just the 2 founding acts as well as other legislative provisions where we carry the mandate from as assigned to us. The industries that we regulate is within automotive, chemicals, mechanical and materials, the electrotechnical, as well as foods and associated industry, And then in terms of ensuring fair trade is our legal metrology. And we also cover the mandate given to us in as far as national building regulations are concerned. Just to talk a little bit in terms of the audit outcome of the 2024-2025 financial year. As indicated earlier, we have achieved an unqualified audit opinion, which is an improvement from the previous financial year, where we had unqualified audit but with material findings. This time around, there were no material findings, just in terms of housekeeping. 17 findings were identified. 6 of those have already been closed at this point in time, and we are remaining with 11 that is now work in progress. In terms of our strategic focus as the organization, firstly, in terms of our mandate, we have to deal with non-compliances because we are instituted to make sure that products that are traded in the market comply with our compulsory specifications and technical regulations. In the year under review, we have identified 794 million worth of non-compliant products that were removed from the market. And then in terms of trade facilitation, and particularly within our foods and associated industry, we're able to facilitate the exportation of foods-related products to the value of 9.1 billion, talking to 8,170 health guarantee certificates, which talks to about 10,699 consignments that we had to inspect and issue these certificates before they can be exported. And then in as far as our stakeholder engagements are concerned, in terms of international and regional engagements, we participate in various forums across the industries that we regulate. We also have MOUs with various other regulatory bodies in other countries. That is just to ensure that we harmonize the regulations and making sure that the products that are exported from South Africa do not have to go through another process of regulatory in their destinated country. In terms of local engagements, in as far as our stakeholders are concerned, that is to ensure that we are in talks with various departments in terms of the work that we do, other regulatory bodies within the country, such as SARS, NCC, and SAPS, to assist in as far as dealing with non-compliances are concerned, as well as the Department of Transport and the Department of Agriculture. So we do that to ensure that even our compulsory specification through the development process take into consideration the inputs that are received in view to ensure that we are aligned in as far as the area of mutual interest is concerned. In as far as engagements with our industry and the consumers, we have formalized the engagements in terms of industry. In other words, we have quarterly meetings with our industry just to talk about and agree on how we can then assist each other in ensuring that non-compliant products are not allowed in our markets. We also use these consultations to develop our compulsory specifications and technical regulations. From a consumer perspective, we with consumer bodies to ensure that our consumers are educated about the work that we do, and also inform them about new regulations that are being enforced so that an informed consumer makes the right choice. In terms of the impact, we have seen improvement in terms of the industry role players. We have seen also the work that we do being approached by various media platforms to talk about the work of the NRCS. and also a reduction in terms of the consumer complaints that we've been receiving over the past years. And then in terms of the market surveillance activities, which obviously becomes then the core of the organization, we conduct our inspections due to limited resources on a risk-based approach. And the inspectors are conducted at ports of entries, at the manufacturer premises, the retails, as well as the distribution centers, and any other point of sale. We have also responded in terms of the foodborne crisis, where we have participated in the nut joints programs. We have also increased our number of retail inspections in response to the identified risk. That would also include the inspection in the spaza shops. To date, we participated in about 11 blitz inspections where we targeted certain spaza shops. In as far as high-risk areas, we have identified a number of these areas, and then we ensure that we dedicate the resources to those areas. This would include ports of entries, because we have since realized that if products are allowed to be in the market, it becomes very difficult to chase them and remove them from the market. So the best is to actually stop them at the ports of entries. Just to zoom in terms of the performance information, the overall performance of the organization for the 2024-2025 financial year. We had 16 key performance indicators, and in total, we achieved 10 of those, and 6 were not achieved. And just to zoom into these areas, focusing on firstly on strategic goal number 1, which is to deal with the development of new or amending existing compulsory specifications. We set a target of 4, and we were able then to achieve that target. In terms of the number of stakeholder and consumer education events, we had set ourselves 21, and we were able then to deliver in terms of the 23 campaigns that we led and executed. And then in terms of the implementation of our stakeholder engagement strategy, which addresses how we engage with various stakeholders, inclusive of the industry and other regulatory bodies, we were able then to achieve that target. And then with specific focus to goal number 2, which is about the maximization of compliance, we were unable to achieve the number of inspections as it was set. We only conducted 19,582. And then in terms of the percentage of inspections that are conducted on locally produced, this is also what we refer to as a high-risk area. In that we would want to ensure that every batch that is declared to us has to be inspected, and we achieved 100% performance in that regard. And number of inspections conducted within our foods-related space, we had a target of 2,562, which we exceeded. And then in as far as trade facilitation is concerned, we had a target of 8 billion, and of course 9.1 billion was achieved. Continuation in terms of the gaming approval applications finalized, we had a target of 99% for completion of the applications within 30 calendar days. We achieved 100% in that regard. And then in terms of other approvals, the LOAs that we issue, our target was at 95% of these applications completed within 90 calendar days, which obviously was a drop from the previous financial year of 120 days. We were only able to achieve 88%. And then the identification of non-compliant products from the market, we set a value of 350 million, wherein we achieved 763 million in terms of the products that were removed, and owing to the fact that we had to target areas that we had identified as high risk. We were unable to achieve the blitz that we had identified, where we had identified the 6 blitz, and we'll provide the reasons thereof in the coming slides. Similarly, when it comes to the development and implementation of the SMME program, for the targeted local SMME involved in local production of regulated products, we were also unable to achieve that target. And then also the development and implementation of incubation programs for Black South Africans to qualify and be designated as repair bodies. This is now in terms of our legal metrology act, we also could not achieve that target. Then in as far as strategic goal number 4, which is about the capacitation of the organization, we were targeting to have a vacancy rate of 10%. We ended the year with only 13%. And then in terms of number of employees to be employed through the internship program, we identified 20 as our target. We ended the year with 22. And in terms of our revenue, we had targeted 95% of the budget, which we have also achieved in that regard. Just to zoom into the reasons for not achieving some of the targets that we had identified, which is about 6 of those. Members will recall that the NRCS was involved in the industrial action, which lasted for almost 2 months, which had a serious impact in terms of the performance of the organization. So that then becomes the biggest reason why some of the targets were not achieved. Similarly, with regards to the first target of 20,000 inspection, we were not able to achieve that because of that reason. Also, in terms of the approval processing, we were unable to achieve the target owing to the non-availability of the resources. And then the project with regards to joint blitz, those were postponed because of what we had planned as a result of our amended APP. We were then unable to achieve that again due to reasons of not having resources at that point in time. With regards to our vacancy, the organization has been going through in the previous 2 financial years through financial difficulties, and we were then unable to reach our target of 10% vacancy rate. The development and implementation of SMME program targeted at local SMME also, it was a project that we had identified through our revised APP. We were unable to start with that program because of, again, the availability of resources. Similarly, with regards to the incubation program, with regards to Black South Africans to qualify and be designated as repair bodies, again, due to what we had planned, which we could not achieve due to the industrial action, we were unable to perform in that space. If we were to look at some of the members that we previously raised with the NRCS, as and when we engaged with the committee, the first one is with regards to the industrial action that, like I've indicated, it took almost 2 months within the organization. The strike ended in the beginning of the year, that is in January. However, there was no settlement agreement that was reached because what was demanded is what the organization could not afford. However, as management, and through the assistance in the mediation process by the department, we were then able to just pay a once-off 4% cash component to all staff instead of having a salary increase, which would then have carry-through effect in terms of our finances. In as far as vacancies are concerned, we had indicated, in fact, that 62, again, I apologize, it should be 66 vacancies in the NRCS. We had identified critical positions within those vacancies about 11 of those which were advertised earlier this year, and we are currently in the process of filling those positions. Other positions, of course, will have to align with the funding availability to the organization. The other area where we had exchanged our concern with regards to the financial status of the organization was with regards to the non-increase of the tariffs over the 5 years period, because the last increase was done in 2019. At this point in time, we at least are excited with the fact that the minister had approved a once-off tariff increase, which was effective beginning May this year, but it only meant that for the services that we render, that will be effective from May. But when it comes to the levies, it will be then effective from January next year. That is in the nature of how how levies are actually declared, which is in July as well as in January. So the July part, at least with this increase, it did not cover. So then it will only cover the declarations of levies effective January 2026. And then with regards to the reviewing of the funding model of the NRCS, we are currently in the process of making our proposals to the department for consideration by the minister with regards to the review of the tariffs, that is inclusive of the fees that we charge, as well as the levies that we charge as the organization. Then in terms of the compulsory specifications, which we also had reported that there were some delays that we were experiencing in terms of the finalization, we are happy to report that we at least have compulsory specifications that were approved and gazetted by the department. It's about 4 of those compulsory specifications that were then approved by the minister. Just zooming in terms of the finances of the organization, I will quickly call the CFO just to take us through on this slide.
Thank you, ACO. Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable members. As the ACO had mentioned, in previous years, the NRCS was reporting losses. So for 2024-2025, we had really good financial performance. We had reported a surplus of 13.8 million. Our total income was 514 million, as you can see. The transfers from the DTIC contributed to 28% of their total income. And most of our income, the majority of our income, comes from our customers. That's levies for compulsory specification. So about 70% of the income of the NRCS is internally generated. In terms of expenditure, our compensation of employees is our largest expenditure item. It is our main cost driver. And as the ACO said, we had quite a few vacancies, and this year we are also trying to, just for critical ones, we did have cost containment measures in place, and that's why our expenditure was at 500 million. Our budget was at 510, and that eventually resulted in a surplus of 13.8 million for the year. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, ACO.
Thank you very much, and over to you, Chair. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I think we are now ready to engage with the both presentations. Andre, you'll assist me with the hands. And then members, you can debate both. We've got enough time. But just be reasonable enough so that we can also allow all members to participate, those who wish to participate. But otherwise, these presentations look very straightforward and they're positive. Yes, honorable members. Andre, you
Mr.
help me.
Chance, Chair.
Yes, Member Chance. Can I take maybe 3 hands? Member Chance.
It's the only hand at the moment, Chair.
Okay, we can proceed.
Thank you very much, Jack. Good morning, everybody. Thank you to the executives for the presentations. Starting with NMISA, what was the reason for the 96 million rand budget cuts from 2021 to 2025, which you indicated, and why have the budgets now been supplemented? Then the client retention rate of 74% to me is a concern. I'd like to know, where are they going? If you don't retain 26% of your customers, who do they go to for the services you provide? Which leads me to the question of who are your competitors. Then, in terms of your staff leaving, do you conduct exit interviews? In other words, find out why they're leaving. And I'd like to know how many of the people who are leaving are emigrating. Then, it is one of the reasons cited the quality of the work environment. When I went to see the NMISA last year, hosted by your predecessor, Jane DeVos, there was a certain sense that much of the equipment was very old and worn. And I wanted to know, does your capital budget cater for replacement of equipment, upgrading of technology? Then the two deficits of 41 million this year and 58 million last year, how is that being funded? I saw on your balance sheet that your cash on hand has actually increased from the last year, even though you made a significant deficit. So how are those deficits being funded? Then turning to the NRCS, I'd like to talk about the problem of illicit imports and illicit goods and ask Mr. Mutengwa about his engagements with the South African Domestic Appliance Association. I know that you've been meeting with Mark Saunders and colleagues from his industry over several months, but they don't appear to be satisfied with the result or with the outcomes of those discussions. So perhaps you could just brief the committee on the discussions. The issue at hand is the surge in imports of illicit goods, which are not being expected. Okay, you did, I think it was 840 million rands worth of illicit goods were removed from the shelves, but that's a pinprick compared to how much illicit goods are being imported at the expense of local manufacturers. And obviously with this committee's focus being on import substitution and local manufacture, those efforts are being thwarted by the surge in illicit imports. Then what are you doing to work with municipalities to broaden the reach of inspections? I'm thinking in particular about the spaza shops, and I know that the registration of the spaza shops has been a problem in terms of the 500 million rand spaza support fund. One of the reasons being they can't get the inspections done properly. So is there some way in which you can work with the municipalities to equip their staff with the skills that are necessary? Or is there a problem in terms of the qualifications necessary to be inspectors? And then the final question is, what lies beneath the industrial action, apart from the money factor? It seems that you've been bedeviled by industrial action for some time. And do you believe that the staff satisfaction rates are improving to the point that you won't have any more industrial action in the foreseeable future? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there further hands?
Chair, Mr. Langa raised his hand, Chair.
Yes, Mr. Langa.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Chair. And greetings to colleagues, fellow committee members, the NMISA leadership, and the NRSC leadership led by both the CEOs. I will shoot straight to NMISA's questions first, then will be followed by NRCS. First question to NMISA will be, given the consistent decline in transfers from the DTIC, as it reflects on slide 17, and NMISA's acknowledgement of major funding dependencies across its smart output. How does the Institute plan, or how does the Institute plan to ensure long-term financial sustainability? Specifically, can NMISA maybe provide evidence of its efforts to commercialize its services, maybe also to attract strategic partnerships or demonstrate the measurable economic multiplier effect of its metrology work to justify increased public investment? Question number 2 is from slide 3 to 5 and 15 to 16. While NMISA exceeded several targets, including SMME support and the publication of calibration standards, many performance indicators were noted as only partially smart or funding dependent. Then how does NMISA intend to strengthen its alignment with the TIC's industrial master plans, particularly in areas such as renewable energy, digital manufacturing, and biotechnology, to ensure that technical excellence translates into broader industrial growth and job creation? And the next question, taken from between slide 20 and 23, the 2024-25 audit follow-up results show that only 39% of findings were fully resolved, compared to 83% in the previous year. Now, what are the root causes of this regression, and how effective are NMISA's risk management interventions, particularly regarding governance, SRO1, and financial sustainability, SRO3, and staff turnover, SRO5, in preventing these issues from recurring? Then the last question for NMISA, with the vacancy rate reduced from 18% to 10%, and the succession strategy now tabled, how is NMISA ensuring that these staffing interventions translate into improved organizational performance and institutional stability? Further, how does the hybrid work and wellness policy fit into NMISA's long-term talent retention and transformation goals? And questions to NRCS. The NRCS attributes much of its underperformance, which is only 60% of targets achieved, to industrial action and cost containment. Now, given this significant operational impact, what concrete measures have been implemented to rebuild labor relations, prevent future strikes, and safeguard service delivery in critical regulatory areas such as inspections and approvals? Question number 2, NRCS reported removing 764 million worth of non-compliant products from the market and conducting numerous inspections across sectors. Could maybe the entity provide a sectoral breakdown of these non-compliances and indicate how its collaboration with SARS, SAPS, and the Border Management Authority has improved compliance levels, particularly within high-risk import market and informal retail sectors? Number 3, the 2 key targets were mentioned, the SMME program and the incubation program under the Legal Metrology Act were not achieved due to funding and labor constraints. Then the question will be, what remedial steps are being taken to revive these initiatives, and how will the NRCS ensure that historically disadvantaged and small-scale manufacturers gain equitable access to certification and compliance support going forward? Then the last one will be, despite having achieved a clean audit and a 13.8 million rand surplus, the NRCS continues to report capacity and funding challenges, with 62 vacancies still unfilled. Now, what long-term financial model is being pursued to balance the entity's reliance on levies and DTIC transfers, and how will the surplus be strategically reinvested to strengthen enforcement, inspection technology, and regulatory reach? Thank you very much, Chair. That's about it for me.
Chair, there is no other hands at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have those questions. Maybe the colleagues from NMISA, firstly, I think we must appreciate the improvement in your audit outcomes. It's very important measure. And secondly, just the clarity in terms of if you can indicate to us what sort of critical minerals you have started with in terms of your letter of intent with Mintech that you are targeting. Secondly, and then thirdly, then your designing roadmap, as well as the digital innovation certification. Are you seeing any South African products that are being conceptualized here at home that requires your certification, or it's just the support of the international products that are being used in the country as a matter of clarity? And then on NCRS, the issues of governance that we have raised, seemingly we have not moved. If you can just give us a sense with regard to the issues of governance in the main. And then I think the other questions around finances have been asked by Member Chance with regard to explaining your deficit and how you seem to be having a positive cash balance in the midst of that. And then let's allow the questions, and we'll have a last round, and then we'll conclude the meeting. Over to you, the way you presented again. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'll answer some of the questions, and then I'll also allow CFO to come in to assist with some of the financial questions. But maybe let me start with the client retention rate, and when looking at that retention rate of 76%, in some cases, contracts that we have are completed. So, there's a defined end date, and those clients then don't renew in some instances. We'd also know with the economy, in terms of especially, I think in this quarter, the last quarter, we saw quite an improvement. But prior to that, the economy has really been struggling. So one can assume that the budget constraints have also restricted some clients. Clients also then tend to utilize. So what we also find is that they'll buy 50 for example, a 50-liter gas tank, and then they'll use that for sometimes 2 years. Those ones are then not covered in that period when looking at the client's repeat buy, for example. So there's a few, but I think in terms of retaining, because we have obviously a listing of the clients, and we do tend to follow up or make those calls. We must, in terms of also our pricing, we don't, if we're offering a service, again, it talks to another question that was asked somewhere down the line as well about the multiplier effect. We're there to enable. So we're not trying to, and that is why I mentioned about the digital certification in terms of tracking where. So if we have a stamp, for example, on our digital certification, and that gets utilized by the next client, and we've mind mapped it in terms of how we want to run it out. But taking it into the economy, we want to obviously see how that materializes. And I think that's going to really help us, because then that's going to provide when we talk about, one of the members asked about becoming financially sustainable. So what we want to show is that while we talk about ourselves becoming financially sustainable or looking at business models to improve revenue growth, but then are we actually chasing the right thing is, what the question is in terms of the mandate. Because what we want to do is to continue boosting the economy by providing more and more services so that your companies don't go overseas to get a service that we are offering in-house or in the country. And by doing a digital stamp on a certification that goes wherever it goes, so we can count it as or have a counter on that digital certificate when it goes into the market, we can actually see our reach, and we can then be able to tell, this is what we contribute actually to the GDP. So in terms of being financially sustainable, if you remove, so let's look at it the other way. If you remove NMISA, what does that then cost the economy? So maybe to answer it from that perspective. If I go to staff leaving, yes, we do those exit interviews. In the slide, I think it was, I'll tell you now. So if you go to slide 13, so these were some of the gaps we also saw. So from that, we've identified areas where we can actually improve, the reasonings why, and a lot where, you're taking strain from having to carry weight and so forth. So to be specific about immigrating, we've not seen, or I cannot recall seeing any that indicated that they're immigrating. It comes down to more often than not, a financial perspective where you're looking to earn more, or you're looking at growth in where it is that you find yourself. So those are some factors, and like I said, we ran a client survey, and together what we did was we cross-analyzed the client survey with the staff that are in the organization, together with the exit interviews. So the trends that we saw in terms of similarities, those are the ones that we've been working really hard on. And you can see some of the results of 2% in Q1, 4% in Q2. That's not to say that that we cannot continue working on improving areas of staff morale and so forth, but there is a stability of sorts, should I say. If we look at the work environment and equipment becoming old, or the CapEx budget cuts, I will let the CFO talk to that one, as well as I think the first question by Member Chance was a reasoning behind budget cuts over the last 4-year period. And the CFO will elaborate, but it was across entities, and I think I will leave him to elaborate on that, as well as the investment in terms of CapEx, as well as the deficits, where we had referred to the 41 and 50 million, and asking about cash on hand and how this deficit is being funded. So I think those are the questions there. If I did miss out any, we will provide a response with the Member Langa. Thank you. And thank you, Member Chance, for those questions. Member Langa as well. Thank you. So let us go through these ones. So again, it's about the decline of funds, and I think that can be addressed together with Member Chance's question. When we talk about how does the Institute consider or look at sustainability, and again, I think now, we come back to that same question, and if NMISA does not provide traceability, or if NMISA does not provide support to SANAS accredited labs, if we do not provide that, they cannot provide us with when you go to buy a bottle of water, or you go to buy a loaf of bread, or whatever the case is. Those services cannot come into the markets. So our role is critical in ensuring that, and I think I mentioned this in the last presentation, where metrology in the country is decentralized. So we we're there and we've been set up like that. And we did a comparison, members wanted to see as well, we did a comparison with how international NMIs are set up, and it's we showed a similar stance in terms of how the metrology institutes are set up there, and we indicated China is different in that metrology there is held under one branch. So so from that perspective, in terms of providing sustainability and in terms of us now having, I think the value of the role we play is central to the economy in terms of providing those measurement services, providing the traceability to the SI, or else you're not going to get any sort of assurances when it comes to the quality of your products that you're receiving. So if I can go to how does NMISA trend? So that we're referring to the SMART targets. So with that, and that is the reason I did show in terms of how we address that on slide 19. So in terms of the DTIC strategic interventions, and like I said, we've worked towards these not just with ourselves, but all the institutes in coming together with having some key elements that we can put forward in terms of these contributions. So that is why I say with these ones, we do feel confident that we can at least achieve the targets that are set out, and we are working towards them. Currently, at the end of Q2, we are sitting on, I think it's a 50% achievement. So we still got the next few months to try and finalize those targets. But yes, the SMART consideration has been put through, not just by ourselves, but I think holistically in terms of the design with regards to the strategic interventions. Okay, and then so I will address the risk management in terms of looking at how we address that. We do have our risk register that's monitored daily, monthly. We do report monthly to the DTIC. So this is tracked regularly in terms of the considerations. And again, it points to the clean audit that we received. So while we do have challenges, I think we also appreciate that while we have these challenges and while we have even less staff, or we have had in the past, we have managed to get by. We managed to do the things that are necessary to keep the ship afloat, and now we're steadying that ship. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I believe we're moving in the right direction, and we're receiving quite a bit of support as well from the DTIC in this regard. So we're thankful for that as well. And I think then if I just move to some of the last few questions in terms of staffing and how do we translate now that we have staff and we're bringing staff into the organization, how do we translate this into achieving deliverables? And that's an excellent question there as well, where we have our onboarding programs, but what we have also now looked at, and CFO is here because we've starting this actually in the finance unit, where we want to ensure that you're skilled. So we want to do what is lateral moves. So which is part of our succession strategy as well. And it allows you then when you're moving around the organization. So we're always able to maneuver in terms of our losses. That does contribute then to efficiency, where if somebody then does leave and we have a shortage, then we have people with the skill sets to assist on that front. In terms of wellness and the hybrid working environment, interestingly enough, I think 2 days ago, it was a proposal that had come through from HR we received to have a wellness program day. So that is in the pipeline. We just have to ensure that we work with it within our guidelines, and we'll do so. With regards to the hybrid working environment, We have drafted a policy in that regard. We just want to ensure that we manage this efficiently. A lot of our work does deal with coming on site. You handle, with the instruments, but we have also employed automation in that, in terms of how we can actually run those. So, maybe drafting the reports, we can then take that offsite. But again, those are the operational matters that we will consider. From a holistic point of view, these are the elements that we have put in place to consider this. If I move on to the chair's questions, with regards to critical minerals, so we've signed a letter of intent. We didn't discuss anything per se in terms of which minerals or anything of that regard. We then looked at, because they wanted us to sign an NDA before we can even start discussing anything. One of our board members works there, so it become a bit of a conflict in terms of that, but we're working around that. And that's why I said, when I mentioned, we then want to look at, so what we've considered is, before, because the consideration would be for us to make reference materials on that front for the critical minerals. That would be our part. Now, if we look at it from a quality infrastructure point of view, so this is the thinking, is that we could design our own roadmap first. So if we have our roadmap where we want to go to, what is it that we want to address, which critical minerals we then can put forward in terms of looking at, because we've got the inorganic facility, and we can look at making those reference materials. We work then with the other TI institutes, and we're going to put forward this proposal at our next CEO meeting. So we have that roadmap, we have that. Again, this then talks to, when we talk about elements of becoming financially sustainable, so things that we can control, where we can put forward a plan, have a strategy of how we want to address certain things. This is where we would be going to on that front. The same we did when we highlighted the cannabis, and I know this wasn't a question, but maybe let me just bring this in quickly, where we indicated that we had signed at the last of the Q4, we indicated we signed with the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development a MOU. So now we've put forward what we're going to be doing is making those reference materials on that front. And we're expecting funding in around December 25, or confirmation there. So again, we will provide routine testing labs with an ability to improve their efficiency by providing these reference materials. We'll also host training sessions for SMMEs, where we'd be able to also look at analysis for various stakeholders, where we can consider quality and quantity of the cannabinoids in terms of the production chain. So this is the plan again from that perspective. So when we talk about our contributions to the DTIC's strategic programs as well, so these are initiatives that we have been considering, and how we will match our mandate to what the DTIC strategic interventions are, and working closely with the department in that front as well. Chair, at this point, if you'd allow me to just let the CFO come in and address some of the finance questions. Thank you. CFO.
Thank you, ACO, and morning to Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Just to dive straight into the questions, the reason for the 96 million budget cut, we had funding from the DTIC, which was to mainly look at our capital purchases and our instruments. The funding was coming from the EU, and at that point, we had that funding for a period of 10 years at about 100 million annually. And that funding from the EU came to an end. And that's the main reason for the cut. It does, in effect, then hamper the capital budget that talks to our aging infrastructure. I think the main thing for our aging infrastructure is the facilities themselves, where we struggle with, your HVAC, your air conditioning, and those types of things in the lab. It allowed us to purchase a lot of equipment over a period of 10 years. I think at the moment the challenge becomes the servicing and the maintenance of that equipment. We've had engagements with the DTIC, and I think one of the big things was that from a capital perspective, we don't necessarily need the funding every year, and that creates a budgeting problem. But in addition to the fact that the fiscus is a bit constrained in trying to make sure that all resources can be made available to everybody, but we are sort of having an understanding with the DTIC that we don't need the money on an annual basis. The period where scientific improvement happens, especially in today's world of AI, becomes shorter and shorter. So it's not as old as it was 10 years ago, but there's constant need for improvement and for new measurement capabilities. So it talks to also the replacing and the upgrading of our assets. We don't necessarily have a capital budget at the moment. Where we end up buying capital instruments is where we have some surplus remaining towards the end of the financial year. To talk to the deficit, our deficit is not a cash deficit, it's more of a accounting treatment deficit. I've talked to the capital assets that we've bought over the years. I think it came to about just under R1 billion. That creates a lot of depreciation in our income statement. And that depreciation, which is not a cash item, is creating I call it a paper surplus and not necessarily a cash surplus. And the cash that we have in our books is mainly for commitments for the equipment. Our equipment, because most of it is generally created for NMISA, takes a little bit of a while to actually get it commissioned. So we only pay when that equipment is finished. So you would see in the financials, the commitment value is almost commensurate with the cash balance we have in our books. In terms of long-term sustainability, I think NMISA is being created as a 3A intentionally because it is the backbone of the multiplier effect. I think the CEO explained that a lot of what the other entities, whether you look at the PPECB that looks at exporting of fruits and all the agricultural stuff locally and internationally, without this backbone that is metrology or some of the work that the NRCS does, we provide some of the reference materials that they use to be able to do their testing. So the multiplier effect is quite a complex economic model. But the reason we actually sit in the DTIC is because it supports almost everything that's related to trade and to measurements. Yeah, I think that's mostly all the finance-related questions. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I think all issues have been covered. Are there any follow-ups so that we can conclude and go to the next item?
Yeah, we still need the NRCS responses.
Okay, if they can come through, please.
Thank you, Chair. So I will be bringing in my colleagues to handle some of the queries, being the COO as well as the CFO. Perhaps maybe let me start by addressing the issues in relation to the industrial action as to what is it that is the main issue, and also what is it that we are doing to try and rebuild the relationship within the organization. Yeah, let me also indicate that The workforce within the NRCS, it's highly dedicated in terms of the work that it does, also considering that the expertise that they have is homegrown in the main. In other words, the expertise that we hone within the organization is mainly as a result of in-house training that has been done. So as management of the organization, we pretty much want to ensure that we create a stable environment within the organization. The industrial action in the main came in as a result of not meeting the demands, and in particular with regards to the salary increases. The salary increases which were demanded were beyond what the organization could afford, as indicated in the presentation. We ended up with just looking at what surplus we had at the end of the financial year, and then we had to, in lieu of actually committing to carry through costs and expenses of the organization, we then had to settle for that 4%. It is not that we do not wish to meet the demands of the organization. It is rather a situation that is far beyond what the organization can afford. We are, and we must appreciate the intervention through the department to at least bring both parties in the same room to talk to the issues that were identified as part of the demands going into the 2024-2025 financial year increases. Most of those demands were based on some of the agreements that were settled between management and labor. However, the implementation thereof required that we also have financial muscle to be able to deliver on that. We have made our commitments in terms of further engaging with the union representative in dealing with such. We have also, in terms of our recognition agreement, established forums that we anticipate to meet with the union on a monthly basis to ensure that we talk to these issues and try to find each other. One of the challenge that was identified in terms of our engagement was the facilitation of those engagements, wherein we have realized that perhaps it requires someone who is on a neutral position to get the parties to talk together. We have, at this point in time, identified an external person who will be facilitating the engagements between management as well as labor in this regard, just to make sure that at least we deal with the issue and try to find each other in terms of the challenges that we are facing as the organization. So we hope with those engagements, we will then be able to at least move in terms of finding each other together with the union. On the issues regarding the illicit imports, and particularly with the specific focus on electrical related products. This is an area that, even as the organization, we have identified that there is a big scope in terms of what ought to be done. We have also accepted that as the organization, in essence, we should be having much more resources in that particular unit to be able then to deal with the high volume of products that are coming through our borders. But here are some of the challenges. When we came up with a strategy of border inspections, it was also as a result of that particular area so that we can stop products before they can come into the country. So it started from the electrical area, electrotechnical area perspective. At this point in time, yes, you would still find these products in the market as a result of, amongst other reasons, false declaration of the products entering the market. or SN when they go through the border. So some of these products are declared as just furniture. And it becomes rather very difficult to pick this product at the ports of entry SN when it comes in through. We have relationships with SARS in terms of the MOU that we have entered, which I believe the COO will elaborate more in terms of our engagement and how we are dealing with SARS programs to be able to intercept these products that are coming into the country. Then with regards to spaza shops and in particular engagements at municipality area or municipality level, coming into the current financial year, one of our target is to lead and execute joint operations with other regulatory bodies to target at least 10 municipalities. And through that engagement, we are then able to engage with municipalities in terms of the area that we have to go and inspect and ensure that products that are found that are non-compliant are actually removed from the market. We have conducted about 5 of those into this financial year thus far. And we hope that this needs to then expand and be explicit in terms of our foods and associated industry in support of that particular activity have also identified spaza shop inspections as an area of high risk and therefore prioritizing in terms of its programs, especially when such joint operations are conducted. In terms of equipping such municipality officials with the expertise in as far as the work of the NRCS is concerned, I guess it's just at the level of understanding what sort of products should be in the market in terms of the identification through visual inspection, but it becomes rather very difficult. You can say we can transfer the expertise that the NRCS has that, like I've indicated, is a homegrown kind of expertise through the programs that we run within the organization. And also given the fact that there is a background academic qualification that is required before an inspector can actually be appointed as an inspector. So it is that academic technical qualification as well as added training that the NRCS will then provide for the official to be able then to can mimic what we do. So it becomes rather difficult to go into finer details and have someone who can do the work that we do as the NRCS, but rather it can be just on a visual level, just to can identify through labeling and marking, and also the recognition of certain distinctive marking that the NRCS will then require such products to be marked on. In terms of Honorable Langa, when it comes to the 764 million products that were identified and looking at the breakdown of those, that value in the main, it was mostly automotive products, and in particular, the tires that were also intercepted at the ports of entries, which are the tires that came in without the necessary documentation and that were found to be non-compliant. And this was also as a result of us working together with SARS and making use of the SARS risk engine, wherein certain products that are within our scope that do not have the relevant documentation, SARS is then able to notify us. About 178 million were attributed to electrotechnical products, and again, it's mostly imports that are coming through the ports of entry, and in particular, the Durban port of entry carrying the most of these valued products. Also within our foods and associated industries, about 11 million of these products were actually identified. Legal metrology side of things, about 156 million, which mostly dealt with the instruments in the main, the prepackaged goods and water meters. We are, however, continuing to ensure that we engage with SAGA to address local government issues, particularly when it relates to water meters, but that is now within the space of legal metrology. So the COO will again talk to our relations when it comes to what are we doing with regards to formalizing our engagement with the BMA and NCC, as well as other regulators that we collaborate with in ensuring that the mandate of the NRCS is executed, and in particular, dealing with non-compliance or illicit, as it were, illicit product trade, as it were. In as far as the identified indicators or targets in the previous financial year on SMMEs and the incubation programs dealing with the designation of repair bodies, as well as the repair bodies, we have shifted those targets to the current financial year, and we have some work that has already been done in that space, particularly within the designation of the designation of triple BEE compliant organizations into the process of conducting work on behalf of the NRCS within the provision of the legal metrology. We are also in a process of finalizing the identification criteria of the SMME that will then make sure that we assist to ensure that they comply with the necessary requirements in around all the areas that we regulate, not within just the legal metrology, but within the other areas that we regulate, automotive, electrotech, and so on. In terms of matters relating to what are we doing about the financial situation of the organization, yes, of course, we have indicated that some of the targets were not met as a result of not having financial muscle to be able to do that. A lot had also to deal with the cost containment that we had to put in place. But in the main, it was around the turnaround plan that we had developed as the organization. And our CFO will then talk to the turnaround plan that we've identified and what we were then able to achieve at this point in time. So if you are to allow me, Honorable Chair, just to request the COO to address some of the areas that I have indicated that he will touch on, and in particular, dealing with the operations within the organization pertaining to the questions raised, who will then be followed by the CFO, just to talk to our turnaround plan in terms of our finances as the organization to ensure that we become a going concern and ensure stability from the finance perspective going forward. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and honorable members. I think, as the ACO has indicated, when it comes to stakeholders, SADA, we have been engaging with them for a while now, and we have comprehensively responded to all issues that they have raised. in certain instances where there were concerns or complaints, we take samples and check for testing. We are not happy with the delays, but the fact of the matter is when we get the reports, you find the products that others they may be complained with complying. And so to a large extent, we cannot, I mean, we don't deal with competition issues amongst local and importers per se, which to a certain extent is an area where maybe other sectors want us to get into. And secondly, the issue of industries desiring self-regulation or resistance to regulatory authority is not something that we undermine. We see, and it remains a challenge. So majority of issues that stakeholders may raise, we have noted even the impact that our levies are declining, declarations are not being done on time, and this also stifle all activities and efforts that we as a regulator would like to do. Because if you have an industry who may have any issue to raise, but for some reason you find that they don't even pay levies because they have a question or something, it becomes problematic. But we always are there to listen. But if our regulatory decisions to some extent are not to be acknowledged or respected, that creates unnecessary challenge between the regulator and the industries. But there are meetings that have been scheduled to clarify and resolve whatever issues they may have, because all our business units have standing stakeholder interaction meetings quarterly. And not all businesses belong to similar industrial associations. Others belong, others do not. So as the regulator, when we come in, because now you will have other industries saying they see persons coming to their place, taking samples and testing, like acting as a regulator, and that is not allowed. It is true that you can send concerns for the regulator to indicate what complies, what doesn't. And going further, Chair, just last week we had a meeting with a good number of all key regulators within the space, your SARS Customs, your ITEC, your NCC, your border police. All we're dealing with how to deal with illicit goods and non-compliance products. And the key aspects that we have, Chair, is we do have a MOU with SARS, but it's on sharing of information, because over the years, there are instances where maybe SARS Customs will say they are not allowed to share this information, meaning a container will come, we can see that it has got electrical appliances and say all these things, but we will not know where is this going to. But through these interactions currently and the MOUs that we are having is to be able to get that information that we can then go exactly to where these products are being stored or the warehouses. So it is very possible that we can de-associate the current status in relation to our borders to what NRCS activities are. SARS, to a large extent, they can stop maybe 4% or 5% of all containers that are coming into the country. Our letters of authority for all high-risk products are at the risk engine of SARS. So whenever a product comes, it will say, do you have this approval from the NRCS or not. And they are doing it very well. But we have a problem that the majority of the economic role players are tampering with tariff codes. They can use a tariff code for T-shirts when they are bringing in TVs. And that maybe is not detected by customs. It's not known by NRCS. But when products are in the market, it's easy to say the NRCS is not doing its work. But the issue is, are prohibited and restricted products in as far as NRCS is concerned in the risk engine or not? Yes, they are. Are they being stopped? Yes, they are. What are industries or importers doing to subvert regulatory authority? And that is the question that we really need to deal with, because if we were to go to one business unit, say electrotechnical, with 30 inspectors rotating daily between ports of entries, manufacturers, points of sales, they are already overstretched. And then that cannot be to say, if you find a plug that is not complying, which is not even manufactured in the country, then the NRCS maybe is not working. That is far from it. But Chair, just to confirm that we have noted and we have seen that the current MOUs that we have and those new ones that we need to start, especially with BMA, the process is ongoing and we are going to do that, and we have agreed that we need to meet continuously. Without municipalities, we will not be able to make the achievements that we have done. The majority of the things that we are reporting on and the products taken out of the market is because of joint operations. When we have the police, when you have the municipalities, the environmental health practitioners, and the rest. Maybe I must just indicate, Chair, the environment which our inspectors are working in is, let me not say dangerous, but is very threatening. Some of our inspectors are ladies. They are in places where they go, how they are treated. It's a very serious concern to us, because even at point of entries. But these joint operations, they bring the force which we may not have at some point in order to be able to unearth these things. So these MOUs and strengthening them and working closely with other entities makes us much more successful than just working on our own. I think the CEO dealt with industrial issues, safeguarding inspections. In terms of our current annual performance plans, Chair, they have greatly improved, especially looking at the current administrations. There are questions where you will be asked, say, if you are doing inspections, what do you want to achieve? Why are you doing this for? So in those instances, you will see that making sure that products that are on the market and the public accessing them are safe, and taking steps to remove them. So one of the main targets is improving sanctioning rate, where the key target is returning products to country of origin or destroying them. So our success is limited to the legislative framework that we have. We are aware that our act is of 2008, which in as far as products that we regulate, if you can look at automotive, say vehicles, the changes are coming thick and fast. You look at electrical appliances, the systems that countries adopt to deal with this. So, but at least we have engaged, and we are aware that the DTIC have a plan to review our act for us to be more effective where we are currently crying because we know that we can't even issue prohibition notices. We can't even fine and stop some of these activities. We do not enjoy tribunals work because we are frustrated in most instances. We follow the same criminal court processes, and we are all aware of the challenges that we may have as a country in various members.
You have to wrap up now. You've been talking for long. Please,
Okay.
we have got other items.
Yes, thank you. So the last one in terms of removed eye products, the ACO dealt with that. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Just to answer the issue about the long-term financial strategy, the ACO did touch on it. We have developed a turnaround strategy for the entity. Meetings were held internally with all the relevant stakeholders. We had identified the issues, we had identified the root causes of the issues, and we had put an action plan in place. That action plan is being monitored on a monthly basis by EXCO, and these actions are throughout the organization. So they're not just finance actions, it's also actions that are being done by the business units. They provide their input and we discuss progress and any challenges that we may be facing with those actions being properly implemented at our monthly EXCO meetings to ensure that our turnaround strategy is achieved. One of the things we are also dealing with, as the CEO has mentioned, is our tariffs. One, learning from the past, the non-approval of those tariffs and the fact that the tariffs were not increasing with the inflationary costs was one of the contributing factors to the losses that we had experienced in the prior years. So now we are working closely with the DTIC, and we've already received an approval for 1 year. We are now hoping that we can get approval for subsequent years. So that's what we're currently working on. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. Who's that?
Yeah, Chair, is Duncan.
Yes, Duncan.
Yes, I wanted just to reflect on your comment on governance, and I would like to relay that perhaps to the department. I'm sure that is in reference to the leadership within the organization and how the organization is being governed. I would like to relay that to the department. Thanks, Chair.
Yes, Ms. Matumela, you can answer for both entities because we have been raising these issues since last year on governance as well as appointment of senior managers, and I'm aware that in both instances we have people who are acting. If you can just take us into confidence of the time period. Thank you. Ms. Matumela.
Thank you, Chairperson. Apologies for that delay. Chair, for NMISA, Chair, the process of appointing the CEO is very close to being finalized. The board finalized the process and submitted a recommendation to the minister. Minister has considered the recommendation and has also consulted cabinet. So the process is almost concluded, Chair. What's now left is the communication between the minister and the board in terms of the candidate to be appointed, and then the board will conclude the process from there, Chair. With regards to the NRCS, Chair, we did advertise, but the caliber of candidates that we got wasn't satisfactory, and so we have embarked on a process of headhunting. We have received a number of candidates from the headhunting process. The process now is we are busy reviewing, the leadership is busy reviewing those candidates in preparation for the interviews, Chairperson. We're hoping that soon we will be able to conclude on that and perhaps have the interview so that we can also conclude that process hopefully before the end of the financial year, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are now done with the two presentations, and thank you to the team. we will see you in the next round of reporting. You must continue doing the good work on the ground, complex and difficult as it is. We are confident that the few turnarounds that we've seen will even be much better if the governance issues as well as the appointments that we are speaking about are sorted out. Thank you very much, team. You are free to leave the meeting. Andre, do we have sets of minutes that we want to look at quickly so that we can conclude the meeting?
Yes, Chair, correct, Chair. Margot will flag the first set of minutes.
And entities you can leave because this is very administrative, just for the committee for a few minutes. How many bills we're supposed to have concluded now?
About 10-9, Chair.
Yeah, okay, let it be quick. Okay, no problem.
Okay, Chair. Margot, is there not the 17th of June? I'm just wondering. Okay, Chair, let's start with this, Chair. The 16th of September 25, Chair, we had a briefing by DTIC and the Small Business Development Department on development of township economy. We also had a formal consideration of the committee's strategic and performance plans, including its third and fourth quarter program for the 25-26 financial year, Chair. We have a full complement of the ANC in attendance, Mr. Chance, Mr. Gama, and we have a member of the freedom fighters in attendance here. If we go down, we have apology of Ms. Slaza Webster, Mr. Msuzani, and Mr. Nshingila. Chair, point 1 is just the introductory remarks, Chair, and then point 2 is the briefing by the DTIC and DSBD, and 2.21 captures the focus issues that members raise. If you go down. Then we considered the strat plan and the performance plan of the committee and well as the program for the third and fourth quarter. And we had a resolution and meeting adjourned at 12:45 until 17 September 2025, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get the move and seconder for the minutes?
I move, Chair. Honorable
Mr.
Langa.
Langa, Chair.
Honorable Langa moves, and then seconder.
I second.
Thank you,
Mr.
Member
Chance,
Chance.
Chair.
Thank you very much. The next set of minutes. Andre, just introduce and then indicate who was there, because as long as there's a topic, we'll remember the meeting.
No problem, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, the meeting of the 17th of June, Chair, we have the briefing by the department on changes to the budget and strategic plan and the performance plan. And we have a formal consideration of the protocol to the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area on women and youth in trade, as well as on competition policy. We considered minutes, Chair. Mr. Gigaba, yourself, and Ms. Musakati was in attendance. We have the full DA delegation, Mr. Chantam Ndluli, as well as the members of the Mkonto Sisi, Mr. Gama and Mr. Msuzani. We had Mr. Tambo in attendance, as well as Ms. Slaza Webster. Mr. Thring, Nshingila, and Mr. Langa had submitted an apology, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get a move and seconder from those who were at the meeting?
I move, Chair.
Mr. Gama, Chair. Member Gama moves. Thank you very much.
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Member Musakadzi. Let's move to the next one.
Okay, a meeting on the 17th September, we had engagement with CASA and the National Consumer Commission and Competition Commission on data expiration and consumer protection. In attendance was Mr. Gigaba, Mr. Masina, Mr. Mkutu. Margo, look down. Ms. Mochikatsi, Mr. Chance, Mr. Gama, Ms. Nchingila, Mr. Tambo, Mr. Thring were all in attendance. We had Mr. Slaza Webster, Mr. Langa submitted apologies for the meeting of the 17th of September, Chair. To go down, Margo.
Thank you very much. Can we get the move and seconder for the meeting, for this meeting?
I move, Chair.
Member
Mr. Gama,
Gama. Yes, Member Chance.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the next one.
Okay, we have a meeting on the 7th of October, Chair. We had a briefing by DTIC on agreement on the establishment of the African Export-Import Bank, Chair. We considered the oversight report and considered minutes. In attendance was yourself, Mr. Mkutu, Mr. Muskatsi, Mr. Chance, Mr. Mdluli. We had a full delegation of Ukonto Isizwe, Mr. Garman and Chingila, as well as Mr. Tambo from the Economic Freedom Fighters. Apologies to Mr. Gigaba, Ms. Laza Webster, Ms. Delanga, and Mr. Three, Chair.
Okay, what meeting was this?
This was the consideration of the FRX agreement, Chair.
Afro-Exim Bank.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Can we get the move and seconders from those who were there?
Chair, I wasn't in the meeting, but I just saw the spelling that's not correct for Honorable Tambo. The TH there instead of a TA.
And Mr. Tambo's surname is spelled with the H.
You don't confuse the Tambo of the ANC and Tambo of the EFF member line, please. Okay.
Apologies, Chair.
We adopt the minutes, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Kama moves. And then the seconder.
I'll second, Chair.
Second.
Thank you, Member Chan, second very much. The next one.
The next one, Chair, it's the meeting of the 14th of October. We had the engagement with the Transport and Transnet, Department of the Competition Commission and the Broad-Based Black Empowerment Commission on the directive to lease infrastructure at the Island View Precinct. We had members of the, if you go down, Margot, just for our purposes, for our members present, Mr. Masina, Mr. Makutu, and Ms. Musukati from the ANC, Mr. Mdluli from the Democratic Alliance, from Kontu Sizwe, Mr. Noble from our, go down, Margot. Mr. Thring, go down, Margot. And Ms. Laza Webster was at the meeting. We had apologies from Mr. Chance, Mr. Gaba, Dr. Kigaba, Mr. Gama, and Mr. Langa, and Mr. Mchingila, and Mr. Tambo, not an H. So that was our first engagement with the Transport Committee joint meeting.
Okay, this was a meeting with Transport on the Island View Terminal when we met
correct.
with the Minister, the Transnet, and TNPA. Can I get a move and seconder?
I move, Chair.
Yes, Member Mr. moves. Yes. Seconders? Honorable members, where are you now?
Mr. Mdluli was also in attendance on that day.
Member Mdluli, why are you quiet? Members, can you please assist the meeting? We can't stay here forever. These are the records of what was discussed in the meeting. Can you go back to the list of who was there?
Mr. Mkutu was there as well. Ms. Mosikatsi moved, Chair. Mr. Mdluli was there from our committee. Ms. Laza Webster was there. And Mr. Thring of our committee was there, Chair.
Oh, I see why there is a crisis.
Yeah.
Mdluli, are you there? Can you assist the meeting?
Yes, Chair. I'm here. I apologize for that. My connection is a bit of a problem, so it keeps on kicking me out and bringing me back. And I see that this is the minutes for the meeting that we had with the PC on transport. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes.
Yes, it is perfect, Chair. Yes. Yes. So yes, I see that they are actually they are fine, Chair. There's nothing that I can object to.
We need a second.
Can you second so that can you
Yes.
formally second, Member?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. I second, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's move to the next one.
The 15th of October, Chair, we had the National Gambling Board as well as the Lotteries Commission on the annual report for 24-25. Yourself, Mr. Mkutu, Ms. Mochikatsi was in attendance, Chair. They go down. Mr. Chance, Mr. Mdluli, Mr. Gama, Ms. Laza Webster, and Mr. Thring were in attendance. We had apology from Dr. Gigaba, Mr. Langa, Mr. Mkutu, Mr. Mchingila, and Mr. Koza. Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover from those who were there? Member Musikasi, you were there.
Thanks, Chair. It's Mr. Koza.
I move, Chairperson.
Mr. Koza, Chair, was on the platform, Chair.
Mr.
I'll
Koza.
second, Chair.
No, Mr. Gasi moves. Member Chan second. Mr. Koza, what is the issue? Were you at the meeting?
He was in the meeting, Chair. No, he's an apology, Chair.
Oh, okay. Mr. Koza, do you want to come in? Okay, let's move. Let's move, Andre.
Okay, we had a meeting on the 21st of October. We had a briefing by the AG on his findings for the 24-25 audit for the Department of Industry and its entities. And then we also had a DTIC reporting to us on the annual report for the 24-25 financial year, as well as the first quarter of 25-26 financial year. We had, should be Dr. Kigaba, Mr. Masina, Ms. Motikati, Mr. Chance, Mr. Mbluli, Mr. Gama, Mr. Mchingila, Mr. Langa, and Mr. Thring, Mr. Razu Webster, Mr. Koza, Mr. Mkutu, and Mr. Tambu submitted an apology, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover and seconder for the meeting?
Chairperson, I move.
I move, Chair.
Mdluli moves, and then member Musikasi second. Thank you. The next one.
The next meeting is 28. We had the follow-up meeting with the Transport Committee Chair. We have yourself, Mr. Mkutu. Go down, Margo.
No, the title, you must read it incomplete so that it's on record.
I'll read the title. Sorry, Chair. We had the follow-up meeting with the Portfolio Committee on Transport to engage with the Central Energy Fund and the National Energy Regulator for South Africa, NRCS, and stakeholders within the industry on the impact of the directive to release infrastructure at the Island View Precinct. In attendance was Ms. Motsukatsi, yourself, Mr. Mkutu. Then from the Democratic Alliance, we had Mr. Chance and Mr. Mbluli. From Continuities, we had Mr. Gama and Mr. Thring from the ACTP. And Ms. Lazo Webster from Build One South Africa Bosa Chair. Apologies from Dr. Kigaba, Mr. Langa, and Mr. Mchingila and Mr. Tambu Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover and seconder from those who were at the meeting?
I move, Chair.
Thank you. Member Mdluli moves.
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Member Musikasi second. I'm sure it should be the last one, the one that you're reading now.
Chair,
Yes.
there's two more, 29th, 10, and the 4th.
Okay.
The 29th was the briefing by the IDC and the National Empowerment Fund on the 24-25 annual reports, Chair. We have a full Mr. Dr. Gigaba, yourself, Mr. Mkutu, and Mr. Katsi was in attendance. If you go down, Margaret. We have Mr. Chance, Mr. Mdluli, Mr. Gama, Mr. Koza, and Mr. Tambo were in attendance, Mr. Langa, as well as Ms. Lazo Webster and Mr. Thring, Chair. Only apology was from Mr. Mchingila, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover and seconder for the annual report of the IDC? Which one is this one?
It was the
IDC and NEF.
NEF, correct, Chair.
Okay.
I move.
Member Kama moves. Thank you very much.
I second, Chair.
Who's there? Member,
both Mr. Langa and Mr. Mdluli, Chair.
Both of them. Okay, no problem.
Mr.
The
Langa.
next one, the final minutes.
It's the 4th of, we had the budget review recommendation report. We consider the committable process as well as consideration of minutes, Chair. We have Dr. Kigaba, we need to make the correction, Chair, Mr. Masina, himself, Ms. Mosikatsi and Mr. Mkutu, Mr. Chance, Mr. Mdluli, Mr. Gama, Mr. Koza, Mr. Langa, Mr. Thring, and Ms. Lazo Webster was in attendance. We had no apologies at that meeting, Chair. Those were all members in attendance, the full house, except Mr. Mchingila.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover and seconder for the meeting of the BRRR?
Chairperson, I move.
Thank you very much. Member Musikasi move.
I second, Chair.
Member Mdluli second.
Those
you
are
very
all the minutes, Chair, that we have for
Thank you.
consideration.
Thank you very much. And then, Andre, just for the last 2 minutes, if you can brief, our next meeting is because there's a program that you've
Yes.
outlined.
No problem.
Can you take members through quickly, just for 3 minutes, on the program, because we had to effect some changes.
Yes,
I know
Chair.
that it was sent through to members. If you can just take them through, and then we can conclude the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we based on I don't know if Marco, can you share the program, Chair Marco? Or shall I just speak to the program? Chair, our next meeting schedule is meeting for next week, the 18th and 19th, Chair. We have had to reschedule our interviews for the chairperson of the NLC board. The process has been delayed, Chair. On Friday, to give you an update on the process regarding the NLC process, Chair, if I may, is that we on Friday we received an additional request from Security Services, Chair, for the fingerprints of members, which were subsequently submitted to them on Monday, Chair. So there may potentially be a delay, but we were informed that they will try the utmost best to complete the process during this week. So we'll keep members updated with the process regarding that. We have received most of our verification of qualifications, Chair. I think there was just one outstanding, but that will be probably concluded before the end of this week. Chair, then also just to inform members that we received as we were sitting in the meeting, one of the candidates has withdrawn, Chair, his nomination, Chair. I will provide I can't for issue of the privacy issue, Chair. He has withdrawn, but I will forward the withdrawal letter to members if that's in order, Chair, through you. Chair, then, Chair?
Yes, okay, can proceed.
Okay, Chair, I thought Marco will flag the program. Let me just check it quickly, Chair. Chair, then the program, after that, on the 18th, we have interviews for the NLC board chairperson. That will be in person. On the 19th, we have deliberations on the recommendation for the NLC board person if everything goes as planned. Then on Friday, we'll have on a virtual platform the formal consideration of the NLC board chairperson. Then on the 25th of November, we'll have the briefing by the DTIC on the butterfly strategy, the status of trade relations, ongoing trade negotiations, and progress in implementing existing trade agreements. And we will also get an update on the tariff negotiation between South Africa and the US, including South Africa's response to the imposition of additional tariffs by the US. Then on Wednesday, the 26th, Chair, we will get a briefing by Ms. Menke Kuna on the Liquor Amendment Bill, Chair. It's a private members bill that were tabled. We scheduled that for that day, Chair. Then on Friday, Chair, we have a follow-up engagement with the oil majors and relevant departments and the impact of the directive to lease infrastructure at the Island View precincts. This will include portfolio members of transport, minerals and petroleum resources, and energy. So we'll be technically 4 committees, and we've invited all those who were involved in the directive, Chair, all majors who have been invited, as well as the ministers of minerals and petroleum resources, the Minister of Energy, and the Minister of Transport, as well as our own minister, the Minister of Trade, Industry, and Competition. Then on the 2nd of December, Chair, we scheduled the engagement with the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Finance, Western Cape MEC of Economic Development, and the Transnet Ports Authority and National Treasury on unblocking obstacles to development of the Atlantis SEZ and the Free Port Saldanha IDZ. And then on the 3rd of November, which will also be on a virtual platform, we have the follow-up engagement with the CASA and the NEC on the CASA and end user and the subscriber service charter regulation and its implication for data expiration. That will be our last meeting for this quarter, Chair, the 3rd of December, as it stands now, but many things can change during the course of the year still. Mr. Chance, Chair, raise his hand, Chair.
Yes, Member Chance.
Thank you, Andre. I just wanted to ask the chair if he has been in discussions with the Secretariat regarding the study tour in January, and where is proposed that we visit.
Mr. Langa, Chair?
Yes, Member Langa.
Thank you very much, Chair. I had Mr. Andre touching on one of the candidates having withdrawn. So I just wanted to check if the committee is at liberty to receive maybe reasons as to why, or maybe we will receive it in a formal meeting or maybe today. So just so that we are enlightened, because the committee had gone through the short processing. I mean the short listing process before. So I think it is important as well to know if a member, one of the shortlisted members, has withdrawn.
Chair, through you, if I may respond to Mr. Langa, Chair. Chair?
Yes, you can proceed, Andre.
Chair, Mr. Langa, just in terms of POPI Act, Chair, Chair, the person who has withdrawn has forwarded a formal withdrawal letter, Chair. I've requested through you whether I can inform the members, forward the letter to the members, and members will have the reasons why he choose not to proceed with his nomination, Chair. Just in terms of the POPI Act, Mr. Langa, I think it would not be wise for me to comment on the reasons for his withdrawal, but the withdrawal letter will explain to you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's fine. If there's a letter, it's fine, Andre.
Yeah, what we will do at the start of the process, when we do the interviews, we will obviously then officially make that particular announcement. I don't think that will be out of order at that particular point in time. And I'm happy that Mr. Lange has accepted that you might not reveal now, and then we'll do that later. Okay. And on the study tour, because I've seen how disorganized Parliament is. I was in Brussels now. I got a ticket a day before, actually on the same day I was leaving. It was just a complete mess, and I'm saying it, I know that this probably is live, but it was a complete mess from Parliament. I think it will be important that we deal with this matter. And there were suggestions about South Korea, Singapore, I think, and Dubai. And then members will be free to contribute using our platform if there is any other. They think we're looking at where there are successful SEZs throughout the world. Member Chance, you can comment, and then we can conclude. We'll allow members to just do their administrative work. And the take from us is that we want all 11 members of the committee to be on the study tour. And then if there are any other political issues, they will have to be brought to my attention. Then I can deal with the chair of chairs and the speaker and all of them. Thank you very much. Over to you, Member Chance, and then Andre, you'll conclude the meeting. Then we can close.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I understand from Margot that the study tour from the previous Parliament went to South Korea, so it's unlikely that the House Chair will allow us to go back there again. So my suggestion is that we look at Singapore and Malaysia, because remember that they were one country until they split in 1965, and they've had very different development models, and I think we can learn a lot from both of those because they're both now riding high economically. And then because they're in the same region, we could consider Thailand and or Vietnam, both of which are Asian tigers that I think have got, we've got a lot to learn from. So those would be my recommendations, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Shall I, Chair? We have noted what Mr. Chance is saying, Chair. We will probably be in communication with you just to have a short MANCO meeting, maybe tomorrow, Chair, if your time permits. But then we'll also then explore the options and then brief you on what work has been done currently in preparation from a content and research perspective in that regard, Chair, if that's in order.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm happy with that.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So the meeting is officially adjourned, colleagues. We will meet tomorrow. There's no meeting.
There's no meeting tomorrow, Chair, but we'll also keep members posted on the development regarding the security. And hopefully by Thursday, we will have a clear understanding whether we proceed with next week's meeting in terms of interviews or not, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. The meeting is officially adjourned, colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.